Okay, hello, you're welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be going over another kind of input, which is called uh, radio buttons. So you could have come across this when you're using maybe something like a quiz hub, where you have to select one thing out of several options. So radio buttons give us the ability to be able to select one kind of options out of maybe many. So it's something that is used all the time in applications like maybe portal, admission process, or something like a quiz hub where you want to select one thing out of several options. So to create a radio button is quite simple. It's also a kind of input, but it's just that it's a different kind of input. So let's say, for instance, we need to create a radio button below this input button that we currently have here. So we could say the input. So let's say input, and then what we need to do is to select the type of input and as an attribute. So the attribute here is going to be radio, and you can see immediately we have a kind of radio, and you can name your radio buttons what you want it to be. So let's say indoor, outdoor. So that's the name of radio buttons, and radio buttons also can have label. So let's say we can have a label for our radio buttons. So let's put the label at the top. Let's create more space here for you to be able to see what we are doing clearly. So for this radio button, I want to create a label. So I will say label. So label, you can see I have opening and closing tag label, which is good. And then we can say, okay, this label for this one is going to be indoor. You understand? And then we will give this label an ID. So I will explain this a little bit more now. And then how do we connect this label with this input so that this we can know that, okay, this label is correspondence to this input. So that's why we have another attribute called for. So we can say for indoor. So this way we know that this radio is for this particular label. So and then we can create another because what is radio button without options? So we need options, right? So that means we need another input buttons, which is radio, right? So right now we have two radio buttons. So but these radio buttons also need a name. So this is why it's interesting. So all radio buttons that are in group have to possess the same name. So we are going to give them indoor and outdoor. So you can see now this is our first radio buttons at the top here. So it has this label indoor, and then the label name, which is an indoor, and then this is the input itself with the type of radio, and the name is indoor outdoor. So and then we connect this input to this label. So that means we need to create a label for the second input also. So as you may have guessed, this is going to be outdoor, because radio buttons give us options to select from two options, right? So we have two options. We have indoor and outdoor, and then what we need to provide here is an ID attribute for this to indicate that this is for outdoor, and then we can put the label for outdoor. So as you can see now, we have our two inputs, which is the radio buttons. So the first one here have a label of indoor, and the second half have a label of outdoor. And you can see we can only select one of this. How cool is that? So you can only select one at a time. And one thing you need to note here is that to create an efficient and a radio button that works, the name have to be the same on every radio buttons. So indoor, outdoor for the outdoor, and for this also indoor, outdoor, because that name tag is what group the radio buttons together. For instance, if I spell this wrongly and I come here, you can see I select this and then I select this also. So I'm able to select both of them because they have nothing in common. So take note of that. So right now it's reset, and then you can only select one of them because we only need hit data out of both of them. And that is how radio buttons works. You can take time and read more of this to be able to get idea of how all of this work together, and then try and solve the challenge here. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. I'll be able to help you. But that's the idea. That is all you need to create a radio button. So you have your input. Radio button is an input, but it's not a type of radio. So, and when do you use radio buttons? When you need to give users several options where they need to just select one of them. And the most important thing you need to know is that the name of all your radio buttons in the same group must be the same. They have to be the same name. So, and that's how it works. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and share this video with your friends, and see you in the next video.